So welcome back. We got another poem to share today. One of Dad's. You said it's from 1992, Dad?
Yeah.
1992.
Yeah, this is the only poem I've ever written. I wrote it coming off of drugs.
Okay, well, anyway, Beauty of Night is the title, and I'll let him explain more of that comment.
Now, I tore the meniscus in my knee, apparently in 1992. And went to the hospital. They had surgery about 7 o'clock in the morning or something, and it was, we lived up in Salisbury, Maryland, but the doctor I'd gone to was up in Delaware, and the surgery was up in Delaware somewhere. And Jill took me to the hospital, I guess, maybe her and her mother both. But anyway, they went home, and I had the surgery, and I don't know how long it took, but they knocked me out. And then when I came to, I remember they came to, and the girl was kind of jarring me and talking to me and shaking me a little bit. And Mr. Sewell, you got to wake up. You got to wake up. You can't sleep. You got to wake up. You got to stay awake. You got to stay awake. And I said, okay. And I was so dry. I don't do drugs very well. It doesn't take much to just put me to sleep. Pain medicine, anything else, my system's just not accustomed to it, I guess. And I don't have. I mean, I go to sleep easily. And I remember sitting there in this recliner in the doctor's office or wherever I was, wherever the surgery was done. And they'd come by and they'd shake me and, Mr. Sewell, you got to stay awake. You got to stay awake. And okay. And I'd drop right back off to sleep, and they kept coming by. And I remember Jill came to pick me up, and I got in the car. They got me in the car. I don't remember much about it. I remember I got in the car with her, and I remember them telling her, you need to keep him awake when he's today, and then when you get home, he needs to stay awake. You can't let him sleep. And she tried to talk to me what I remember, but she didn't keep me awake on the way home. It probably took 20, 30 minutes to get me home, and I stayed awake the whole time. I mean, I stayed asleep most of the time. I got home, and I got on the couch, and I went to sleep. And about 10 o'clock that night, by the time everybody else was going to bed, I woke up. I'm looking around, and they're wanting to go to bed, and I've had plenty of sleep. And in that house, in the family room, had a beautiful window, and there was a rocking chair. And I got up. I couldn't talk anybody into staying up with me, so I sat there in that family room, and I think all the lights were turned out. I'm sitting there looking out the window, and it was looking through the trees. And I'm not sure what month this was written in, but I could see through the trees. There were all the leaves were not full on the trees, and I'm sitting there looking and watching the clouds move by the moon, and this just, I guess, the clouds and the sky and the stars inspired me to write this. And it's called Beauty of Night. I've never seen a more beautiful sight than the majesty of a moonlit night. Pillows of whites, purples, and blues nestles the moon as it passes and soothes. All this panorama on an ebony screen creates a drama that must be seen. A quilted sky that's studded with stars, all a silvery moon healing daytime scars. This moonlit night is impossible to equal. though surely in time there will be a sequel. Each one is unique in contrasting beauty, as though its creator had a particular duty to show us our world in the beauty of night, when all of creation is black and white. I hope you enjoy that. But I remember sitting there in the dark room and looking at that, and then getting up and finding me a sparrow ring pad and writing that poem that night. So I tell people that's the only poem that I recall that I wrote when I was coming off of drugs. So that's the reason I say that.
All right. Awesome. I like that one. Did you have to have that surgery? I remember you got kicked. We went to Assateague Island one time, and they have wild horses. And I remember you got kicked, and I always thought, did you have to have the surgery because of that, or they were just separate?
That horse kicked me on the right knee. This was on my left leg that I had to. No, wait a minute. No, it wasn't. It was in the left. It was on the right leg too, but it was probably 2 years or more after
Oh, okay.
I got kicked with a horse.
All right.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know why. I always thought they were connected, but I guess not.
Well, they could have been. I don't know, because, but it was a couple 3 years later.
Yeah. And why did you get kicked? Because I know they tell you to stay away from the ponies.
Oh my
They say
goodness.
stay away, don't feed them. They're wild. That's all over the place. So how did you get close enough to one of those horses to get kicked?
That was an exciting day at the beach.
Yeah, it was.
Because before I got kicked with a horse, I had to save Julie and Molly. And
Out in the water?
yeah, they got caught in a riptide. And
Whew.
I remember Jake, he was the first one we pulled out. Greg Barrett went and got him. And no, Holly and Molly were the first ones. And Greg and I were out beyond them. We were further out. We were down on Assateague Island. And man, this has been years ago. But Greg and I were out there, and Holly or Julie started yelling at me. She said, "Daddy, we can't get back in. We can't get back in." I'd never dealt with the riptides before. And
Assateague is one of those swim at your own risk. There's no lifeguards.
Yeah.
It's
well, they're lifeguards, but there's no lifeguard tower or anything. There was a lifeguard there before we finished anyway.
To help.
I don't remember if there were any before or not, but on the way over, I told Greg, we were, I guess, on kind of a sandbar.
Wait a minute. You keep saying Greg. I thought it was Craig Baird.
It is Craig.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But Craig and I were out, and several other people. I remember Ed Hedges was there that day too. But we were out. I guess we were standing on a sandbar because we were standing probably no more than chest deep in water. But we had to swim to get to Julie and Molly. And on the way over, I told Greg, I said, Craig, you get Molly, I'll get Julie. She belongs to me. I'll get
Holly.
her. Julie.
Oh.
Julie and Molly.
Okay.
And I said, I'll get Julie. And as I'm approaching Julie, I'm swimming up to her, and the water was just trying to get. I mean, I'd never been in anything like that.
It was just pulling on you.
Yeah. And I told Julie, I said, Julie, don't you grab me. I said, I'll grab you. You don't grab me. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I had to get my young'un out of this water that was trying to pull her out in the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I'll grab you. So I got her around the waist, and I would just shove her, and I would go down in that water, and I'd come up, and she'd be, maybe out of arm's length, but I'd got her a little closer. And when I'd get to her, I'd say, Julie, don't grab me, don't grab me. Mm-hmm. And I'd do it again, and I just kept working till we got out of that, and we got her back up to where we could, where we both could walk out of the water. And Craig was working with Molly. Apparently, he didn't tell her not to grab him, and she grabbed him and pinned one of. I mean, she just hugged him. He said, just bear hugged him, and he only had one arm.
Oh gosh.
And Greg swallowed a bunch of ocean water that day, and he finally got her out. And about the time we got her out, uh, what was Jake's mom's name?
Oh,
Carol.
Carol.
She says, somebody get Jake out, and Jake's out there. He'd gone right out there where Holly and Molly had been, or Julie and Molly had been, and he was caught up in it.
Mm.
So Greg went out and got him. Craig went out and got him. I don't remember names. It might. There was only 2 or 3 people here involved. But I'm just naming names. But Craig got Jake out and took him all the way back up there close to his mom and said, now, Jake, you stay here, because by that time there were others that had got caught up in it.
Mm.
And I mean, it was just getting wider and wider, the riptide was. And it wasn't until after then I studied riptides a little bit and read a little bit about them and found out, what caused it and how to deal with it. We did not deal with it the right way that day. But we ended up, Craig, after he got Jake out, matter of fact, Craig ended up saving Jake twice that day. And he was so mad. And he told Sister Cole when he got up there, he said, now, you keep him here, because I'm not going out there to get him again. And at the time, Jake was a big boy. He's probably 12 or 13 years old.
Well, did Jake think he was going out there to help?
I think he went out there just to get attention. I'm not sure what motivated Jake to do that. But as it ended up, everybody out on that sandbar that Craig and I were on when Julie and Molly first got in trouble, everybody out there ended up getting in trouble before it was over with. And I remember we got everybody out, and Ed Hedges kept telling me, he said, Dugan, I'm okay. I'm okay.
And he was in the water?
He was in the water. He said, I'm okay. Every time we'd go out to get somebody, it's, I'm okay, Dugan, I'm okay. So Craig and I went back and forth several times. And I remember I got the last one, and Ed Hedges was still out there kind of wandering around, just kind of floating. And he said, Dugan, and Ed was older than me. Ed was probably the oldest one out there. And he said, Dugan, I think I do need some help. And I told him the same thing I told Holly and told everybody that I get. I said, don't grab me. I'll do what I can for you, but don't you grab me. Mm-hmm. And I finally got Ed out. Well, but this time the riptide had taken me. I don't remember if it was up. I think it took me up the coast. But I wasn't anywhere close to where Molly and
our group was.
Yeah, where Molly and Julie first got in trouble. But I got Ed out, and then I was just exhausted. I mean, I was done for, and I wasn't worried. I mean, I could still, I was staying afloat. But all I could do is just stay afloat. I'd worn myself out. I was through fighting the tide. Mm-hmm. I was just kind of going with it, and I found out later that's exactly what I should have done anyway. If you'll ride a tide out, and then you'll finally get out of it, and then you come back at a different place. And so I'm out there I'm telling everybody, I'm okay, but I'm not getting closer to the shore at the time. Yeah. But I really wasn't worried about myself. I'm okay. And a lifeguard showed up at that point, and he may have been there earlier, I don't know, but he threw a buoy out there to me, and he came out there pretty close to me, and he threw a buoy to me and told me, he said, grab hold of that, and I did, and he just pulled me on back where I could get my feet on the ground. But that was a pretty exciting day. But that injury may have caused that torn meniscus, but the meniscus didn't manifest itself probably for a couple years.
Okay, but it wasn't from swimming. It wasn't from the
Oh no!
rescuing.
Oh no!
How
No.
did
Yeah,
the horse
the
get
horse.
cured?
Okay, when we got back up to the little place that we had reserved for our food. There are horses. There are wild horses on Assateague Island, and there's signs all over the place. Do not feed the horses. Well, some of them, Craig Barrett included, he'd come back. When he finally got out of the water and got everybody was safe, he left the water and he didn't go back. But he'd gone up there and he was feeding a horse watermelon. One of the wild horses is up there. And I remember walking up there and I'm saying, uh, I said, "You're not supposed to feed the horse. There's a sign everywhere that said, do not feed the horses." I remember Craig said, "Yeah, but the horses can't read the signs." So, but as I do that, his youngest son, Josh, was just a toddler then. And Josh was right at the back foot of the horse that Craig was feeding. And it scared me. And I walked over and picked him up. And I guess the horse saw me move. By the time I got Josh uh, up in my arms, that horse kicked me.
Mm.
And he left the print of two horse hooves just below my right knee on the inside of my right knee. He knocked me down, and I'm laying where if he'd have kicked again, I'd no telling what. He may have kicked me in the face or the gut or somewhere.
Mm.
But I'm laying under his feet. And I got um, I got Josh handed off to somebody, and I'd fallen on Josh's arm, skinned his little arm up. And I guess his mom or dad or somebody got him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm laying there, and I got mad at the whole world. And they trying to help me up, and I started screaming, "Get away from me!" I was hurting so bad.
Mm.
I've never been. My body's never been shocked like it was then.
Mm.
I remember the next day laying in bed, and my leg hurt so bad, down in front of my shin, where that horse had kicked me. It didn't break anything. It looked like a tennis ball had been buried right on top of my kneecap when I got to the hospital that night. But the X-ray, there was no broken bones, and they sent me home. And I didn't walk for about 3 or 4 days. I would walk to get to the bathroom, which was probably 4 or 5 steps to get from my bed into the bathroom. But I couldn't even put a sheet over my bed. I mean, over my leg. The hair on my leg, touching the hair on my leg, just hurt so bad.
Mm.
That's enough about the injuries I got in Ocean City.
All right. Well, we hope you've enjoyed Beauty of Night and how that came about, and the story of our disastrous trip to Assateague Island.
But we had many fun trips too. So.
All right. You need to sign out with your signature sign out.
Y'all be pretty, and we'll see you again.